All wings report in.
HouseDog, standing by.
Mother Goose, standing by.
Lock S-foils in attack position. Animal Squadron ready for battle.
Hello, everybody. It is your favorite host, your most attractive host, your smartest host, and most importantly, your most humble host, Mother Goose. And welcome back to Animal Squadron. Yes, this is Editor Elijah, and yes, that's why I can say all these nice things about myself. Just as a reminder, as mentioned at the end of our last episode, I ended up splitting part 1 of The Rise of Skywalker into 2 parts. This is the second part. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we are picking up exactly where the last episode ended. We get to see the horned guy that Mark Hamill voiced is dead.
Yeah, Bulio and his decapitated head.
They cut his head right off. Right,
which I thought was
smack off.
I thought was pretty dark.
I did too.
For a Star Wars film. I mean, we've seen people's heads like cut off and stuff before, but not just like a head thrown on a conference room table. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the decapitations that we have seen. I mean, Jango Fett was in the middle of a battle. Count Dooku was in the middle of a battle. But this guy was probably just trying to hide, scared. Might have shot a couple times, but yeah. Yeah, but this is like the first time in a film like somebody's thrown a decapitated head on a table and said, this
I agree.
Person gave away information.
That little stinker. Okay, so now we get to see that there are more generals aside from General Hux, and I think he feels a lot less important to the First Order, like just another general now. Do you think he got demoted when Kylo Ren took over?
No, I think Hux just feels robbed. Like, I think Hux thinks, well, he even says it in the last film, like, whenever him and Kylo are talking, right after Kylo wakes up in the throne room of, like, how dare you assume command of my army? Like, right. Hux is convinced that he should be leading the First Order, and he knows what's right. Right. So he feels very shortchanged, and I kind of, like that they brought back the boardroom scene.
I did too.
And I didn't really make this connection until this time, but Hux right here is a lot like Krennic.
Yeah.
In this scene, because it might be the Allegiant General or one of the other guys in there, but I think it's the Allegiant General who we see more of in this film. Like, he calls out Hux directly. He's like, the failure of Starkiller Base. Mm-hmm. And it reminds me a lot of the scenes in Rogue One between Krennic and help me out here.
I don't.
I know his face.
I do too. I can't think of his name.
What's his name? He wore slippers instead of boots, and that's why he was only shot from like the waist up in scenes.
Nice. I didn't know that.
What is his name?
I really don't know.
You know who I'm talking about?
Uh-huh. Yes, I do.
He's in Clone Wars too.
Yes.
He's Vader's like right-hand man.
I don't know, my friend. I'm so sorry.
Yes, you do. I know it. You know it.
Please tweet at us if you...
No, I have to know who it is.
Okay, you look it up. I'm going to start talking about the festival, unless you have any other notes here.
Yeah, so it's kind of a side note, and really it's just for you and I, but whenever they get there and 3PO is explaining the festival to them and everything, and like what it all means and everything, do you know what it reminded me of?
What did it remind you of?
It reminded me of our good friend Tuck.
Okay, you know what? I definitely see it. Our good boy Tuck. We gotta get him on the podcast.
I was like, this is Tucker 100% explaining some stupid history thing to me that I don't really care about, but he knows every single detail about it, and he just wants me to know.
Yeah, Tuck was a big history buff, and we love Tuck. We stand Tuck, and I think he brought a lot of good knowledge to our lives.
Yeah, I mean, I've forgotten most of it, but...
Yeah, Tucker, if you're listening to this, I did too. I'm really sorry, buddy. I did enjoy listening to you talk about it, though. It's nice, nice hearing what your friends are passionate about.
Grand Moff Tarkin.
Yes. We're real Star Wars fans, we swear.
That hurt really bad. I can't believe I didn't believe that. Or didn't remember that. But yeah, the whole, like, Hux being talked down to, it's like Tarkin talking to Krennic.
Yeah. Yeah.
In Rogue One.
So that scene, him describing the festival, have you seen that interview with Mark Hamill where he's talking about the original line that George Lucas had written for A New Hope when they first see that Alderaan had been destroyed?
No, go ahead, tell me about it.
Go look it up, because it was this like it was a super long line that made absolutely no sense, of like Luke just spitting out random facts about Alderaan and like, how could they be destroyed? They've got this, and this. And like, apparently Mark Hamill had to beg George Lucas to change the line, because he's like, nobody talks like that. But I can't remember what the line is off the top of my head, but that's what C-3PO's knowledge of the festival, or his line about the festival, reminded me of.
I feel bad that I have no idea what you're talking about, because it sounds interesting.
That's okay. It's an interview from like 1977, I think. It's an old one. But I literally just watched it a few days ago, and so it's fresh on my mind.
And then I love Chewie trying to hide in the crowd.
Yeah.
And him ducking down. Like, that's going to do anything.
We love Chewie. He's the tall boy. I like the family name question. I feel like that was good foreshadowing to what's to come.
Yeah, I guess, except the fact that I like the Rey Nobody
thing
theory a whole lot better.
Okay, here's the thing. I know I talked about really wishing Rey had been a Skywalker, but I really like the whole Rey Nobody thing a lot better than Rey Palpatine.
Yeah, death to Rey Palpatine.
Maybe not death to her, but I don't think it was a good call.
Death to that theory. Do you want to talk about Lando?
I've got something before that.
Okay, go ahead.
We see we get another FaceTime call. I know that's not what they're actually called, but in my heart, they're forced FaceTime calls, and no one can change my mind.
Did I forget that? What happened in this one? Because I feel like it was important, and I was supposed to write something down, and I didn't, because I just knew Lando was coming, and I wanted to talk about Lando, so I think I skipped over the FaceTime call.
That's okay. They have a short conversation, and this is where Kylo grabs the necklace, and that's how they find them.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to point out that Rey hates Kylo again. Like we saw in The Last Jedi, she really hated him, and then slowly, but still felt a little rushed, at least to me, she went from hating him to wanting to save him. But now she hates him again.
Is it hate or just confusion?
Maybe confusion, but it definitely felt like hate to me. At least strong, angry feelings.
Who knows what any of these characters feel about each other?
They're all one big polyamorous relationship going through a breakup.
I guess so. I don't know.
But I think I heard a complaint recently of this scene specifically, because they get the necklace, they analyze it, and then there's already stormtroopers on the planet, and people were like, how'd the stormtroopers get there so quickly? But they literally said there were already when they first got there, we have to be careful because there's stormtrooper patrols monitoring the festival. So yeah, the Kylo Ren and his forces weren't there yet. There were just already stormtroopers there that were made aware, like, hey, look out for these people.
Well, that, and it was established in the last film that, like, if they didn't defeat them, like, they would take over the whole galaxy in a matter of weeks.
Right.
And do you know how much time passed between 2 and 3? Or not 2 and 3, but 8 and 9?
I don't, but I will look it up.
It feels like a little amount of time.
Okay, do you want to, while I'm looking that up, do you want to talk about Lando?
Yeah, let's talk about Lando. I thought it was pretty lame how they brought Lando back here. I'm sorry, you were probably expecting me to be really happy about Lando being here, and I'm not.
You know, I was expecting you to be super excited for Lando.
I was happy to see Lando, and it's cool, but I still think they missed the opportunity to bring him back in the second film.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's one of those things that I feel like should have shown up in the second film. But I like the fact that he was using a was it a crossbow or bow and arrow?
It was a little handheld crossbow. It was pretty cool.
Gotcha.
I thought the same thing. I was like, I like that he had a crossbow. That's cool.
It was exciting to see Lando again, but
yeah, it's not that I wasn't excited to see Lando, but I was just like, why is Lando here? But I guess it makes sense that Lando's there, because if you think about Lando and Solo, like, he's always going to whatever planet is having the party.
Right. But it seems like he hasn't left since him and Luke got here.
Right, I got that vibe too, that like he just kept trying to figure out the mission, which wouldn't. That's not Lando. Lando's going to go to the next place that he thinks is going to be profitable for him.
Yeah. Also, I'm scrolling through this timeline right now. I'm almost sequel to the sequel trilogy, and I just saw that the Ahsoka series is going to take place in 9 ABY, and I just want you guys to know that how people acted when the Joker came out was how I'm going to act when the Ahsoka series came out. This is the beginning of my villain arc. I'm so excited.
Okay.
Okay, so it looks like there's about a year between them. So The Last Jedi took place in 34 ABY, and The Rise of Skywalker takes place in 35 ABY. And for any of our listeners who don't understand what that means, that is 35 years after the Battle of Yavin.
I need you to explain your Ahsoka thing here and why it's important that it's occurring in 9 ABY and why you're going to start your villain arc.
It's not the date of when it's why it's important. That doesn't matter. I was just rolling like the 9 ABY. It literally is just I'm rolling through scrolling through the timeline and it popped up. But I am so excited for the Ahsoka series. This is the series I am most excited for. I don't think I've been this excited for a Star Wars project since The Force Awakens.
You're more excited for Ahsoka than Obi-Wan?
Can I be honest? Yeah, I think I am. I'm sorry. I'm super excited for Obi-Wan, and I'm glad it's...
Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed the Animal Squadron podcast, because this will be my last show. Thank you so much for tuning in, and good night.
I'm sorry, friend. The Obi-Wan series is going to be really good, but I love Ahsoka. She's one of my favorite characters, and I'm really excited to see what they do with her. But to be honest, I'm probably getting my expectations too high, and I'm probably going to hate it.
Stop writing your own show in your own head.
I literally, the only thing I have in my head is Ahsoka, Sabine, Ezra, and Thrawn. That's it. I don't have any direction of where I want the series to go, but I just want to see those characters.
Fair enough.
Okay, sorry. Let's get back to this film. Did that answer your question, though?
Yeah,
cool.
Sure. Either way, it's my last show, so it doesn't matter anyways.
No, come on. We at least have to get through part 2 of this film.
Nope.
Give me some time to find another co-host.
You did this.
I just thought I'd be the one to quit first.
Yeah, I've been trying to get rid of you for years now.
Yeah. Literally, we've been doing this since 2020.
Oh, my.
Yeah. Okay.
And yet we've never even had our 1-year anniversary of the show yet.
We haven't. I will look up when we post our first episode, and we'll do our 2-year anniversary. Okay, so yeah, I really think the only thing I want to talk about Lando is just like, yeah, it was cool to see him. I definitely agree he should have been in the next one or the last one, but yeah, what has he been doing on this planet? Do you think he's been looking for that knife or the hint of where that is the whole time? Like, did he even know Luke went into exile? He could have gone home.
Yeah.
He could have went and been with his friends.
I don't know, man. It's just one of those things in this film that I was like,
listen,
what's going on?
I needed a scene of Chewie being like, yeah, dude, Luke's been gone for 20 years. And Lando being like, and no one told me. I've been waiting for him all this time.
Or just like a short montage of Luke and Lando going on this adventure, and maybe Hondo Ohnaka is there.
Yeah. And maybe Luke does the hey man, I'll be coming right back. Just wait for me here.
Yeah, just watch the ship. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Yeah, this reference isn't gonna this reference isn't gonna make any sense to you, but he pink diamond it.
Okay.
Okay. So my next note is literally just we hear about the Jedi Hunter again, and like, this would have been a really cool place to just put in the Inquisitor line. Like, literally all they had to say was Inquisitor instead of Jedi Hunter. Like, I feel like, because I don't think there's any reference to Jedi Hunters. Like, Jedi Hunters is their own thing anywhere else that, like, I can think of. And I might be wrong. Maybe there are set Jedi Hunters. Maybe there's a whole big thing of them and I just don't know about it. But we did know there were a group of Jedi Hunters called Inquisitors. Like, I don't know. It just bothers me that they literally had a Jedi Hunter order already and they just didn't use it.
I want to talk about how 3PO shined so hard in this movie, and I loved it.
Yeah. Which part are you talking about?
Well, he has like a bunch of great lines, like here coming up, just like one after the other.
He really does.
And the first one is like after the First Order like figures out that they're there or whatever, and like they're running away from Lando. Or not running away from him, but they've said their goodbyes to Lando and everything. And they're trying to get to a speeder. And 3PO comes around the corner and he goes, "No need to worry, I made it."
I know, I love that line.
I'm just like, man, the 3PO really made this movie for me in a lot of spots.
I did too. They really let 3PO shine here, and I love that.
Yeah, and they should have. It was great.
Should we talk about the "they fly now" line?
Yeah, I was just wanted to talk about jump troopers in general with you.
Yeah, I just wrote, they've been flying since the Clone Wars.
It's been 30 years, Elijah. It's been over 30 years.
I know, but they've been flying. They've been flying.
Suspend your disbelief.
I know, suspend my disbelief. Yeah, so what did you want to say about the jump troopers?
Nothing. I just wanted to ask you about them. You know, a lot of my notes are just asking you questions and me having zero input whatsoever.
You know what? That's okay. We'll just make this whole podcast you interviewing me about the films.
You know, I think if you really listen to our episodes, you'll find that a great deal of them are me going off on these long tangents about life and what Star Wars really means and about life. And then me just asking you questions about it and hoping that you have an answer and me having nothing to put into the conversation.
And that's why our podcast works.
It does.
Okay, no, really, that is one of the lines I really hate in this film is "they fly now."
Was it a little too on the nose for you? Which you should get that tattooed on you as well.
No, it's not that it was on the nose. It was just like, it just made the characters feel kind of dumb. Like, they've been flying. They've been flying.
It was a bit of comedy in a time of hostility.
You know, I will give you that. They got to break the tension. I think really the last note I have here is Rey still has Han's gun.
Yeah, she does.
And I really like seeing that.
At least they're consistent about one thing in this movie.
At least. Okay. I don't have anything till they crash.
Down in the caves?
I have a line as they're sinking, but yeah.
Go ahead.
Rey, I never told you, and then he falls. They should have answered that in the film. I'm sorry. This line makes me so mad. Because, like, not only does he say it this one time, it gets brought up multiple times. Like, what were you going to tell Rey? And they never answer that in the film. It makes me so mad. J.J. Abrams, it's the third film. You can't be creating mystery boxes now. Please, just answer the things you set up. Anyway, this line makes me very mad.
I have a theory for that in the second half of the film.
Cool. So for our fans that don't know, what Finn was wanting to say is, I have the Force. J.J. Abrams came out and confirmed that in an interview after.
Okay, because that was going to be my theory for the second part of the film, was he was going to tell Rey that he's Force sensitive.
Yeah, and like,
because there's plenty of allusions to it here.
Yeah.
Especially during these upcoming scenes of whenever they get to Ochi's ship and stuff.
Finn should have been a Jedi. He should have been a Jedi. We literally can have 2 Jedis in a film. You guys. I'm sorry. I'm very heated, but like...
No, sorry. They already went divisive enough. They had a woman Jedi have her own set of films. You can't have a black Jedi and a woman Jedi in the same film, Elijah. It's too much.
But
it's too much.
People won't like it. Who cares? Give us...
I don't even think it was that. I don't think it was the whole white-black thing. I just think it was like... They spent so much time developing Rey's character that... I think if you also made Finn a Jedi in this film, it would take away from Rey's story and her arc and how important it was for her to go see Luke. Because if it was her and Finn seeing Luke, it would have taken away her character. Like, now you have these 2 students here wanting to learn from you at the same time, and Rey would have gone about it the way she did that we see in the film, and Finn would have gone about it a completely different way.
And I think that would have been a really interesting dynamic. But I think what it really comes down to is this is a soft reboot. Rey is... Luke and Finn.
How many times are you going to say this?
So many
I think
times.
you should just tape it, and every about 5 minutes during our show, you should just play that pre-recorded line.
Listen, I will. But no, seriously, like Rey was Luke and Luke was the Jedi in the original trilogy. So like, of course, this film couldn't have 2 Jedi. But like, I think that would have been really interesting in instead of having Finn go off with Rose, have him go with Rey to learn how to become a Jedi. Like, that would have been great. But...
I mean, we get that in the Lego Holiday Special.
We've already talked about that and why that makes me mad.
I like the Lego Holiday Special, I love the Halloween Special. The Halloween Special was really fun, and we haven't even talked about that one.
I don't think I've watched it yet. But I really did like the Christmas Special, and I really like that we actually got to see Finn training to be a Jedi. It just should have been in the sequel trilogy, and that's the whole point I'm trying to make. But in terms of this line, the Rey I never told you, it just really bothers me that not only do they say it, but they bring it up at least 2 other times in the first half of the film. I'm not sure if they bring it up in the second half, but for sure 2 other times, and it still never gets resolved in the film.
Maybe it's just one of those things that you're supposed to infer as an audience member, and they just didn't play that card right.
Yeah, and, maybe, like we talked about it, there was rumors that there was a 3-hour cut. Maybe it did get answered in that longer version.
Hey, man, we're still waiting for, like, the 4-hour cut of Revenge of the Sith.
Give us the 4-hour cut of Revenge of the Sith, you cowards.
Because, I mean, the opening battle of Revenge of the Sith was supposed to be, like, an hour, right?
I think so. I would have loved that.
It would have been pretty cool, but we would have missed out on so much.
Okay. Should we talk about when they're actually in the cave?
Yes.
Okay, we were talking about C-3PO. He has a great line here where Poe's calling out, making sure everyone's okay, and C-3PO says, "You didn't say my name, but I'm okay."
I know. I love him so much. He's so sweet.
It made me laugh, but it also made me feel really sad for him.
But I have another 3PO line right after that that supports your constant theory on this show, my friend, or one of your running theories.
Please do.
Where the 3PO out loud says, "Is this the afterlife? And if so, am I supposed to be here?" Or something along those lines. But he definitely asks if this is the afterlife.
You know what?
And I thought about you, and I was like, our droid sent you.
I'm so mad at myself because I didn't bring that up at all in part 2 of The Last Jedi. No wonder we were able to record it in just about 2 hours. Our droid's sentient. C-3PO knows about the afterlife.
Or is that his programming telling him about the afterlife? Because that's a human concept.
Or gods?
He was a god himself in Return of the Jedi.
Does C-3PO believe in hell? Because we've established that hell exists. At least the concept of hell exists in this universe.
Is C-3PO Jesus Christ himself?
To the Ewoks? Maybe.
In Star Wars? Possibly.
We've already established that Obi-Wan is Space Jesus.
Are we stumbling on the edge of sacrilege right now, my friend?
Yes. As someone who is religious, I'm going to say Obi-Wan is not Jesus Christ and just end it at that. But the funniest thing happened on TikTok. So the new poster for Obi-Wan, somebody took it, the one where Obi-Wan's standing out in the distance on Tatooine, they cropped out the title of the show, and then they wrote, Jesus died for you in public, so why are you living for him in private, and posted it on Facebook, and all these people were like, yes, amen, but it was a picture of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, it's like that really old meme of my grandma has a picture of Obi-Wan on her mantelpiece, and she thinks it's Jesus, and I just don't have the heart to tell her.
Yeah. And you know what? That's on modern religion for telling white people that Jesus Christ was white. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Talk about the cave. Back to Star Wars. Enough about religion.
Good job, BB-8, for finding the knife. Literally wouldn't have a second half of the film without him.
Yeah. And can we talk about Poe's very clear Indiana Jones line here?
Which one? I totally missed it.
Like right before they find the knife, he's like, bones. I hate bones.
Nice. See, like through the film, I feel like this trilogy, they've slowly switched Finn and Poe. Like Finn was supposed to be Han, but now Poe is Han and Finn is Leia.
And they're all in this weird polyamorous relationship.
And you know,
and C-3PO is Space Jesus.
And that's okay. I really liked the reference to the rule passed by the Old Republic to where droids can't speak anything from the Sith language.
But they can know it.
But so what's stopping them from just bringing up a galactic map and saying C-3PO, point at it?
I guess it's his programming won't allow him to do that. But it's like
suspend our disbelief. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me too of also that scene in Indiana Jones, which also happened in real life. I know it happened in real life. I know it's just not in a movie. But that scene where I forget which Indiana Jones it is, but he actually invades like Nazi Germany or whatever, and they're burning all the books and everything, which happened in real life.
Right.
You know, so they could rewrite history if they did win the war. Like, nobody would have knowledge of these things, because eventually, if things aren't written down, yes, you can always pass down these stories, but they become stories, just like Luke and Han, and, you know, they became legends. And that's obviously... What were we talking about? I lost my point. The Sith language.
The Sith language.
Yeah. So him knowing it and not being able to speak it, I think is one of those attempts by the good guys to rewrite history.
Yeah. I mean, history is written by the victors. Maybe the Jedis were the villains all along.
I feel like you've said this in an earlier podcast.
I have. Okay, should we talk about force healing?
We can, but there's a line right before then.
Oh, yeah, go
by
ahead.
our wonderful space Jesus droid, where, you know, 3PO reads the dagger and everything. He's like, okay, I know exactly where we need to go, but I can't tell you.
Yep.
And Poe asks him that. He's like, so you can understand it, but you just can't tell us what's going on. And he's like, the one time we need you to speak and you can't. And 3PO just responds with, irony, sir. And I'm just like, yes, 3PO, yes.
3PO really shined in this film.
For like as many cringy lines there are for everybody in this film, they wrote 3PO so well, and Anthony Daniels delivered every line perfectly, just like he always does.
Right.
But they wrote 3PO exactly the way 3PO needs to be written in this film, and I loved it.
Okay, so force healing. I am totally okay with them adding new force abilities.
Which force healing isn't a new force ability. It's been around for a while.
Where do we see force healing?
Probably books, but in the video games, it's a power that you can do. Like in the Revenge of the Sith game, you can force heal yourself.
Yeah, you're right. That is an ability. I just kind of knocked that up to, though, it being a video game ability. But you're right. I did use that a lot when playing against my nephew as children. I don't know. I think it's cool. I don't really have anything against it, but I think having something like that just makes older characters look stupid for not using it. Like,
okay, so spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Mandalorian Season 1, stop listening now for about the next 15 seconds. Why are you okay with Grogu doing it in in Mandalorian, but you're not okay with it here?
who said I was okay with Grogu doing it? Who said?
Nobody.
When did that leave my lips?
Nobody.
When did
Nobody.
it leave
You
my
never.
lips?
You never did, but we've talked about Mandalorian so many times just offline, and you love Mandalorian, and you love Grogu, and you have never once brought up the fact that you don't like that he force-healed anybody in The Mandalorian.
Okay, so, again, I have nothing against the use of force healing, and this applies to The Mandalorian too, and I'm not sure if I brought it up or if I was trying to... I might have been wanting to save it for this discussion today, because we've already recorded our Chapter 1 and 2 review. When does he use... Which chapter does he use force healing in? It's got to be 3.
No, it's at the end.
Gotcha. Okay, so we haven't really covered it yet.
No, we're not even close to covering it.
Cool. Okay, it's just been a while since I've seen it. And so yes, let me just be clear. My complaint for it here stands. It's the same complaint I have for in it, The Mandalorian. It just makes other characters look stupid. Like Anakin Skywalker's whole thing was about trying to save Padme and finding a way to save her, but like force healing exists. Why not just use that?
Right, but is that something that Rey learned from the Jedi texts? And then I know you're going to say, well, how did Grogu know how to know it? But Grogu is 50 years old. Like, he's been around for a while.
Right. And
what's to say he didn't read the Jedi text?
Right. And the same thing is like Yoda makes it sound like he's read through the Jedi text. I think his exact lines were page turners, they are not. Right? Something like that.
Yeah, you can interpret that two different ways. That Yoda read them and they're super boring.
Or he tried to and couldn't get through it.
Exactly.
Okay, I will give you that. Yeah, I don't know. I just like really specifically a big part of Anakin's character was losing his mom and losing Padme, and like I don't know, it just feels kind of cheap knowing that there was a force ability he could have used to heal them. And you're right, we did see it in the Revenge of the Sith game, which in itself, contradicts its own film that it was based on. So it's not just this film, but I think this is the one that really made me think about it.
Well, I mean, when you think about like Shmi, like she was so far gone. Like,
right.
She was dead. She was practically dead when Anakin found her.
Yeah.
And so Rey even explains it here, which again, I think they did a good job in this film. At least if you're going to do something, at least explain what's going on. Yeah. Because Rey even says, like, I just took some of my life force and put it into the creature.
Right. And like, I really don't have anything against force healing. I think it's a cool ability. I think how Rey explains it makes sense. But it just makes Anakin look dumb for not at least even trying to use it, or saying like, oh, if she's about to die, I can just use my force healing. And that's my really good Hayden Christensen impression. Hope you guys loved it.
Even then, like, whenever we see the force heal, either in Mandalorian or here, the person that's doing it has to be in direct contact with the person. It's not like force projection where you can do it from a completely different planet. You have to be there.
Right. And
you can't really do it to yourself.
Right. In Anakin's defense, he was not there when Padme died. But, like, if he knew about this technique, I don't think he would have, like, stressed out about it so much. Which just goes to, he probably didn't know about it. Suspend your disbelief, but you're telling me none of the Jedi knew about it? And, like, especially in this massive war, like, I feel like that's something they'd want to make sure all their Jedi knew what to do.
but we don't know how much strength it takes.
That is true.
Because it obviously takes a great deal out of you to do it. Because, I mean, even after Rey heals the sandworm thing, like, you can tell, like, she's drained a little bit. Like, it's taken some of her ability away. And anytime Grogu uses it, he immediately passes out.
Yeah.
And he's pretty strong. We've seen that.
No, I definitely will. I'll definitely give you that. I just, it's more of, I wish we would have seen it in the prequel era, but that's not this film's fault.
No, and I think it's also like, it'd be too easy of a cop out. And I mean, so much of what happened to Anakin is, well, I mean, everything that happened to Anakin was because of the losses that he experienced. So if he was able to save his mother, and if he was able to save Padme, he would have never became Darth Vader. I mean, he was probably always destined down that path because of Anakin's faults.
Right.
But it wouldn't have been as immediate.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's all I have for the cave scene.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, we get them heading towards the Jedi Hunter's ship, and Rey senses Kylo and leaves. And I just wrote, she should have stayed with the group.
Yeah, and then we also see Finn sensing Ren.
Yeah. Yeah, we get that subtle hint that he's Force sensitive.
And then I just want to point out, why does Chewie always get captured? Why is Chewie always the one being captured?
Okay, that literally was my next note. I'm okay with Chewie getting captured, but they missed a really cool scene showing the fight between Chewie and the Knights of Ren. Like, this would have been a really cool spot to show just how powerful the Knights of Ren are. Instead,
is that a deleted scene, though?
It might be, yeah. I haven't looked at any of the deleted scenes for this film.
And I haven't watched the deleted scenes for the last film, and I feel bad.
That's okay. Also, wasn't Kylo Ren with the Knights of Ren when they were they landed on the desert and they were looking down? They were looking all dramatic.
Yeah.
I just think it's weird that they were all together and then now he's in his ship. Same thing as my Phasma critique for the last film. She was in one place and then she was another so she could have a dramatic entrance.
Everybody needs a dramatic entrance, my friend.
Yeah. I thought it was a cool flip, though, that Rey did to cut the ship.
And
do you have anything before that?
No, it's just that I'm looking right now. I have the Disney Plus pulled up. There are no deleted scenes for this film.
Wait, are you serious?
I am serious.
That's wild.
There's extras and stuff, but there's not
not deleted scenes.
Not any deleted scenes.
Huh. Okay, so what I want to talk about is this film and character fake-out deaths. And how there's a lot of them. Because you can't tell me that Kylo was in that ship and survived the explosion. Like, the tumble, and then the explosion, and then he walked out like he's just fine. I thought Kylo died there.
Hey, man, he's Kylo Ren.
Yeah. But, okay, I will suspend my disbelief. Kylo survived, but he shouldn't have. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, it was a horrible wreck, and any normal person would have died.
Yeah, best case, Kylo should have came out burnt, all crispy, Anakin Skywalker-like. It
Wow.
exploded.
Wow. Yeah, but then you can also say, in The Force Awakens, whenever, Poe and Finn went down.
Oh, but they show that, though. They ejected from their ship. We don't see them ejecting, but we see their, we see at least Finn, his seat was super far away, and we saw the parachute on the ground, but we see nothing like that for Kylo. Plus, he was right next to the ground, tumbling. He didn't really have a chance to eject.
Yeah, but Kylo's super strong now because Rey is suddenly super strong.
They're a dyad in the Force.
They are.
Shall we talk about their Force duel?
Yeah, so whenever I first wrote this note down, it gets answered like right almost at the end of the second half or at the end of the first half of our watch through.
Gotcha.
As I was like, why are they just fighting over the ship? Like, I don't get it. I mean, Kylo answers that reason later, but I'm like, why not just go stab her? Like, why do the thing with the ship? But I mean, that gets answered later and we can come to it then.
Right. And Rey's just trying to make sure Chewie makes it home safe. And then she
blows him up.
And
blows him up.
We get our second character death fake out for this film.
But whenever you watch this film, and we watched it together, did you really think that Chewie was dead?
I wasn't sure. I was hoping he wasn't, but...
I didn't buy that Chewie was dead at all. I thought that if they were going to kill off a character like Chewbacca, we would see him die.
Yeah. I also kind of feel like maybe she should have killed him here.
Wow. Do explain about how you want Chewbacca, one of the most beloved characters in all of Star Wars, to die. And just remember that Chewbacca is one of my wife's favorite characters. So go ahead and just explain that one.
Well, has she seen this film yet?
No, she hasn't seen any of the sequel trilogy. I kept those films hidden away from her.
Good. Spoiler alert. He does die right here. Gets blown up to pieces. And I cheered. No, I'm just kidding. Of course I didn't want Chewie to die. I love Chewie. But I think it's a really powerful moment. Her realizing that, oh no, I just killed Chewie. Like, what have I done? And, like, the audience feels that way too. Like, oh no, Chewie's dead. Like, what did Rey just do? And then
but she also took no ownership of it. Like, she was devastated, but it was like, I didn't do that. That wasn't my fault.
No, it wasn't Finn. Like, Rey was saying, I killed Chewie, and Finn was like, no, Kylo pushed you to it.
Yeah, that happens in between the dialogue. I'm talking about the moment right now where, like, maybe it's just her disbelief that she was able to do that, and then it was her fault that Chewie died. But
yeah.
Like, it came off like, that wasn't my fault. I didn't do it.
No, I think it would have been I'm talking more a little later, she's realizing, like, I killed Chewie. And then they almost immediately take that back. I mean, in terms of the audience.
Well, I mean, we might as well just skip to that anyways. Her and Finn talking.
Yeah. And that's really all I have to say, is I just feel like that's a really powerful moment for her, and I felt her sadness.
Yeah, which it comes to, like, their big grouping of, after the little conversation that Finn and Rey have, they're like, we only have 8 hours left. Yeah. Because the whole idea of this movie is they have, like, 16 hours to defeat the Sith.
Right. Which, okay, makes me think, and this just goes to Palpatine's arrogance, but, like, he was so close to launching his fleet. Why not just wait? All he had to do was literally wait one more day. He could have sent out his message after the fleet had left Exegol.
But that's not Palpatine's style, baby.
No, I know, but it just feels dumb.
It does. Well, no, that's my point, is whenever they're having their powwow here, and I think it's Poe that mentioned, it's either Poe or Finn, that says, we only have 8 hours left. I wrote down, I just don't buy it.
Yeah, it doesn't, like,
I don't buy
doesn't really feel like it's there.
Yeah, it wasn't like in the Last Jedi where they were like, the fuel, the fleet only has this much fuel. Like, I bought it then. Like, I knew how dire the situation was.
Yeah.
In this film, I just never got that belief that the situation was this dire. And maybe it was because in The Last Jedi, like, you literally have the First Order right behind them, firing off rounds at them every minute.
But also, why didn't the First Order just send Star Destroyers? Like, have them hyperdrive in front of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, take a long way around and land in front and then surround them. Again, it just goes to their arrogance, but I want to see villains. I want to see heroes succeed because in the face of the villains doing everything they could have done. It makes that victory feel so much sweeter, not because the villains did things dumb.
And I think you get that in The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, sorry, I know we're not talking about that film, but that was something I really wanted to talk about when discussing The Last Jedi, and I completely forgot to bring it up.
It's okay, buddy. That's why I'm here.
But yeah, no, I completely agree. The tension just does not feel there.
Yeah. And then, how do you feel about the Knights of Ren using the old Jango Fett trick, which is the old Obi-Wan trick?
What trick is this?
Where our heroes decide to blast off into the... to go to Kijimi, yes. And the Knights of Ren are waiting on the asteroid, like literally 30 feet away from them.
I liked it, but we don't really see anything come of that, right?
I mean, they follow him to Kijimi, and then Ren's destroyer shows up at Kijimi.
Yeah, I think maybe a confrontation on Kijimi between like two groups before Ren showed up might have been good. I just want to see the Knights of Ren do more.
Do you want to talk about Kijimi?
Let me see. I have one note before that. Whatever the general's name is, he's talking to, I think, Hux. And it's just a lockdown shot, and then it moves to a zoom in on the general's face as some information gets revealed. I can't even remember. I hated that. I really I hate when lockdown shots move to zoom ins. And
explain what a lockdown shot is to our people that don't major in cinema.
It's literally just a when you set up a scene, the camera's not moving at all. It is in one spot. It just stays there. And mostly it's used for like when people are talking. But then a zoom in, obviously it's zooming in or out of a character. And it just, for me at least, it took me out of the experience. It being locked down and then beginning to zoom in. And some films have done it well. I just feel like this film did not do it well. Like, I really like the cinematography in this film, but we see that a couple times, and I didn't write it down the first couple, but it just really pulled me out of the experience.
I miss that. I miss your technical notes. You don't have as many technical notes as you used to whenever we first started the show, and I miss them.
You know, I think when we first started, I was like in the middle of my, or not in the middle, towards the end of my film degree, and I was still like super involved in it. And now I have mostly just been, I mean, I still make YouTube videos a lot, but a lot of my work is podcast stuff, and it's all audio focused. So I'm not working with visuals as much as I used to.
Well, I miss your visual notes, and I just wanted you to know that.
Well, thank you. Okay, we're on Kijimi.
They did a really good job here of, again, enforcing the World War II aspect of Star Wars. Of you see the First Order troopers like going door to door of these homes on Kijimi, and we find out later through dialogue that Kijimi has just become this war-torn planet.
Right, and the First Order has taken all the kids.
Yeah, and every night there are raids, and it very much is World War II, and the Nazis going door to door looking for Jews. And
it feels hopeless to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was one part of this film that I was like, you got it right here. Good job.
Yeah. We also get the reveal that Poe was a spice runner.
How do you feel about Spice Runner Poe? Because that's my next note.
I was fine with it. Everyone has a backstory. I think it gives more reference to Poe. I'm
cool with the backstory thing, but the way that they handled it in this film, like, they brought it up multiple times, just like the Force-sensitive thing with Finn. Finn kept asking Poe, like, how do you know how to do this stuff? Like, he, hot wires a speeder, and he does something else earlier towards the beginning of the film, and Finn brings it up again to Poe. He's like, how do you know how to do that?
Yeah. But I think at least it gets resolved. Like with the, how do you know how to do that? Oh, he used to be a spice runner. Like maybe it's not the best resolution, but at least it's a resolution.
Right. It just felt rushed. And that's what I feel bad for a lot of parts of this film because it just got... This was the third film. If you don't wrap it up here, you're not going to get the chance to wrap it up in mainstream media. You're going to have to go to a book or a comic, which is fine. Those are great forms of media for Star Wars. And honestly, Star Wars really thrives in books and comics.
Right. But, you know, this was the third film. They made these films film by film without having an overarching plan for the trilogy. I'm sure they had no idea that Poe was a spice runner until this film. They're like, oh, we got to give Poe a little more backstory. Oh, let's make him a spice runner. Like, it would have been a lot better if they'd had these things planned out from the beginning.
Yeah.
We refer to, Zori refers to the stormtroopers as walkers. How did you feel about that?
No, she was talking about there being walkers on the planet, my friend.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, because we get shots of them later. There are walkers there. There are ATSTs there. Well, not ATSTs, but
yeah, okay.
ATST lookalikes.
That makes more sense. I was really confused. I really thought she was just talking about the stormtroopers, and I was like, zombies in Star Wars? No way.
I'm sorry to burst your bubble.
That was sarcasm. I know there's zombies in Star Wars.
There is, but that's like EU legend stuff.
Right. Which, that could have been a twist. You know what? Give me the sequel trilogy, and it's all about them fighting off a zombie empire stormtrooper uprising. Like an outbreak broke out, and all the stormtroopers are zombies now. That's the sequel. That's how I would have done my third film.
I know of 2 books like that. One is called Death Troopers, and the other one is called Crimson.
Yeah.
It's not Crimson Dawn, because Crimson Dawn is the crime syndicate, but...
Right.
Or maybe it's called Red Dawn. No, Red Dawn is an 80s movie. It's Crimson something.
Yeah, no, I know what you're referring to. I think it was all a joke about, one direction they could have took the film.
Oh, well, I guess your sarcasm was wasted on me.
It's okay.
No, but I'm glad you brought up voice lines in the background here, because one thing that we hear the troopers talking about in the background here as they're moving through the city to get to Babu Frik is one of the troopers mentions to the other, he asks if the T-18s are up and running yet, which that's like that's a running Star Wars joke is about speeders.
Yeah.
The T-17s, and now they're talking about the T-18s.
Right.
And I like that. That was cool.
I did too. My next note is I need a series on Babu Frik right now. Right now, Disney.
Before we talk about Babu Frik, we did get our token Star Wars bar scene again.
Right, because it
was very brief.
Yeah.
But we still got it. And how did you feel about the creatures here on Kijimi?
No strong feelings either way.
I have strong feelings. I wouldn't say... I don't like them. I don't like the creatures that we saw in Kijimi.
Yeah?
I thought they were weird. I thought they were kind of out of pocket for... And I can't even say that. Maybe it's just me being a gatekeeper. But, the bar scene here just felt weird, and maybe that's normal for Kijimi, and maybe if I knew more about Kijimi, I wouldn't say that. But the creatures here felt weird. There were a lot of cybernetic ones, and just, scary-looking creatures.
Oh, do you have something against cybernetics? I hate to break it to you, Darth Vader was a cyborg from the very beginning.
Death to the elderly.
No, I'm just kidding. I get what you mean. Yeah, I don't know. I see how you can feel that way. I, like I said, don't really have any strong feelings toward them one way or the other. They were just another bar scene.
In this bar scene, the bartender, and this is his only cameo in Star Wars ever, John Williams is the bartender.
I didn't know that. That's really cool. That's good they finally got him.
It's his only cameo.
About time.
He never wanted to do one, but since this was his last film, this was the last film he was ever going to do composing.
Okay. Yeah.
And so he finally did a cameo, and he was the bartender.
Nice. Interesting little tidbit.
Yeah, I mean, John Williams is basically the Stan Lee of Star Wars.
Right. On the music side.
On the music side, I mean, yeah, no hate to George, but George had his cameo in episode 3. So.
Right.
And so did his son.
I just wanted to bring up, I really like that it's clear that Zori and Poe have history.
Yeah, well, that comes after 3PO gets his mind wiped.
Yeah. No, just like all of their interactions together. I know what scene you're talking about, but just like everything leading up to that, it's clear that they have history beforehand.
Well, let's talk about that whenever we get to it.
Yeah. Okay, I wrote character death fake out number 3.
Are you talking about 3PO?
I am talking about 3PO. Like, yeah.
But I really appreciate 3PO's line. I didn't find it corny, even this watch through.
No, I never.
Whenever he says, corny. You know, his line about, they asked 3PO, like, what are you doing? And he said, I'm taking one last look at my friends.
Right.
I didn't find it corny. I really enjoyed it, and I felt it was actually true to the character here.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I just, it was clear they were going to erase his memory, and then we get C-3PO, like, having no knowledge of who any of these characters are. Like, just a basic droid with no context, no memories. And then that gets taken back later in the film.
Yeah.
So like I'm gonna point out these character death fake outs. It doesn't mean there's anything deeper to it. Just this film does it a lot.
Yeah, they do use that a lot. So we've determined that C-3PO. Well, you haven't. I have. That 3PO is Space Jesus droid.
Yes, of course.
And then he all of a sudden has red eyes while he is reciting the Sith knowledge. Is this Satan C-3PO?
See, maybe
C3 Satan.
You thought it was droid Jesus or droid Christ. It's droid Antichrist.
It's Satan 3PO.
Satan
S3PO.
C-3PO. But we already established that C-3PO is the real Grand Master of the Jedi and was in a loving relationship with Dark Lord of the Sith, Jar Jar Binks.
That's true. I'm so glad that you brought it full circle back to one of our very, very early shows.
Yeah, of course.
But no, it reminded me of, because that was one of the, like, establishing shots in the trailer of this show was Red Eye 3PO. And, like, it made you wonder, like, is 3PO going to be evil? And I was totally down for it.
I would have been okay for evil C-3PO. But we just got memory loss, amnesia C-3PO. And that's okay, too.
Yeah, it was a good misdirect.
Okay, I don't really have anything until they get onto Kylo Ren's ship.
Oh, okay. So I just have one thing, and that's Zori and Poe's scene on the roof. I actually wrote down, like, because it like all the relationships that we've seen throughout just this film itself, just a singular film, have felt very, like, gross and disjointed. And, like, this scene here between Zori and Poe felt, like, really fresh. And I was like, okay, I actually buy their relationship here, and I buy the romanticism between Zori and Poe.
Yeah, no,
and it didn't gross me out
agree.
like a lot of this film has.
Yeah, this relationship felt real.
It felt
like an
real,
actual
yeah.
relationship. Is that all you've got to the ship?
Yeah, go ahead. Get us on there.
They get on the ship, thanks to Zori, shouts out to her, and they land, and my real note is, and I started blasting. Because they come out shooting. They're not even trying.
Which I totally didn't think how it was going to go. I thought they were going to pull the Millennium Falcon, hey, we need help up here.
Right, I did too. But they just came out fighting, and I like that.
Yeah, good for them for not repeating something else in a previous film.
For the first time in forever. Okay, my next note was on the Jedi mind trick.
Go ahead.
This that made me laugh. I thought it was funny.
I kind of found it...
You found it cringy?
I don't know if cringy is the best word. Like, I don't know. Like, whenever we see the mind trick in A New Hope, Like, it's not that A New Hope is so serious. Like, there are silly parts of A New Hope.
But that specific scene feels serious.
Yeah, because you don't know if him and Luke are going to get through the checkpoint.
Right. And this is just played off for laughs.
Yeah, this is just like a comedy moment. Like, even the stormtroopers act really dumb, and their voice lines are like, "We're so glad that you're here. Oh, thanks for coming." Like,
yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
And that's okay. That's okay. Like, Star Wars needs to be funny, and there are plenty of funny moments in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that Star Wars has to be serious all the time,
This
but this
one
just felt
didn't
like
stick with you.
Yeah, no, it just didn't hit me as like a good comedy moment in Star Wars.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. My next note is on the duel between Rey and Kylo.
Yeah, I think I have things before that, and I could be
go
wrong,
ahead.
so stop me if I am. Is whenever Chewie, Poe, and Finn get captured,
Right.
and not Finn, see, look, there, I did it again too. Poe says something like, "Hey, how are you doing, fellas?"
Right.
And Chewie laughs. Chewie actually laughs.
It feels like a Han moment.
Not even that. Like, I bought that comedy over the mind trick. I bought this comedy of Chewie laughing at what Poe was saying over the funny force trick moment.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Okay, so then we see Kylo and Rey face each other, and I really liked this fight. There was nothing too flashy about it, but just visually, them being in two different locations and fighting through the Force, I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it was interesting.
And then, like, seeing them actually affect the world around them, like, Rey's lightsaber cuts that bag and all those beads end up on Kylo's ship, and together they break the mantle holding Darth Vader's helmet, and it ends up landing on Kajimi. Which, did he grab the helmet or did he leave it there? What are your thoughts? Because I don't think the film shows
I
it.
wanted to know about that as well.
I mean, maybe later we'll see it on the ship or something, but I don't think from where we stopped watching it got revealed.
No, it doesn't where we stopped.
Yeah. Anyway, what did you think about their fight?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt... The only part of it that I didn't buy is that Rey has the dagger in her hand the entire time that they are talking, and he never once sees the dagger.
You know, I'll give that to you. Especially, like, yeah, if these were just two normal people fighting, okay, yeah, maybe he missed it. But these are Force users. Like, I feel like
it's been determined at this point in the films that they are the two most powerful Force users we've seen so far.
Has it?
At the given time, Kylo Ren is the cream of the crop of the dark side, and Rey has risen to meet him.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. No. Really, I think that's all I really had on their fight.
How do you feel about General Hux?
Hux is the spy. I think it's in character. He hates Kylo Ren and cares more about Kylo Ren failing than the success of the First Order.
Yes, and I love that, and we can get to that line here in a second. I just have one other point, and that's the fact of the First Order troopers talking to 3PO in the hangar, and 3PO speaking a fake language.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Okay, see, another great moment that I really loved.
Yeah,
that I thought was hilarious.
This film
was 3PO speaking a fake language, and the stormtrooper going like, "You're not speaking a real language. I know that that's fake. Like, stop. Just tell me where they are."
Yeah. I really
bought it then.
like that.
And then we get to the Hux part of him. Like, we know that Hux is a spy now, and him saying, "I don't care about you winning.
Right.
I just want Kylo Ren to lose."
Right. Very petty.
But it's very in character for him.
Yeah, I agree.
They did very well with Hux.
Yeah, they definitely did. I like that he asked Poe to shoot him.
Yeah. He made it believable. He knew what he was doing.
He did. Also, but, I mean, after all the countless stormtroopers they killed, I mean, if Hux wasn't the spy, they probably would have just killed him.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I don't have anything till they're facing off in the hangar.
The big reveal.
The big reveal. I literally don't have anything
Which is very underwhelming, so go ahead.
We get the reveal that Rey is a Palpatine. And not a nobody. It didn't really
This moment was very underwhelming for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, the like visually it was cool. Them in the hangar, there's all these stormtroopers. The Millennium Falcon comes around and like blasts them all away. Like visually it's cool. But the importance of Rey being a Palpatine just There
was no, and I'm not saying this to be fancy or to seem like I'm some smart person, but there was no gravitas to the scene.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like finding out that Darth Vader is Luke's father in episode 5.
Right.
Where that scene is like you're sitting on the edge of your seat. You think Luke's going to die. You think that Vader might turn him to the dark side. You're not for sure.
And then you find out he's his daddy.
Yeah, there's nothing
similar to that within this reveal. And I think
and it's so cool that like we get to show Star Wars to people for the first time, because it's like whenever I showed my wife Empire Strikes Back, and like up until that point she didn't know that Darth Vader was Luke's dad.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then whenever we got that reveal, she was like, oh my gosh, like is he really like it was a big moment in like this film, like this scene. If I showed her this scene and then the Vader scene, I mean, I'm only inferring, but right. I feel like there wouldn't be the same reaction.
No, I agree. And like, I think a part of that comes from the fact that there was so much history between Vader and Luke at that point. Like Luke and us as an audience thought that Vader had killed Luke's father. And we get from Vader that no, Obi-Wan lied to you. I'm actually your father. That's really powerful. Rey has no connection to Palpatine, and it's not even Palpatine who reveals it to her.
Yeah.
But then the Falcon shows up and blows all the stormtroopers away, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Also, I want to point out here now that Kylo and Rey are cousins. So, in the original, in Legends, it was Darth Plagueis. Sorry, I was trying to remember his name. Darth Plagueis, who used the Force to create Anakin Skywalker. And I'm pretty sure that Disney has retconned it now to where it was Palpatine who did that.
Yeah, it was Palpatine who does it. And there's the Darth Vader comics. Like, he goes into the Force. You see Darth Vader as a Force being, and he sees the creation of himself, and it's Palpatine who does it.
Right, which was a Disney retcon. That's fine. That kind of makes Palpatine Anakin's dad. Like, I know not actually, but that's kind of the vibe I'm getting.
Why are you trying to make this some weird incestual plane?
I'm not trying to make it that way. I'm just pointing out that Disney made it that way. They didn't need to change the fact that Palpatine and Sidious, like, they didn't need to switch Sidious creating Anakin instead of Plagueis. That's all I'm saying. That's out of my hands. I'm just presenting the evidence.
You need to read the Plagueis book.
Yeah. I will take a look at it.
It's a Legends book, and you'll feel completely differently about that, because that book, which is actually Legends, fully supports that comic.
Okay. All right.
It wasn't Plagueis. It wasn't Plagueis at all. It was Palpatine the entire time. They haven't deviated from that.
Okay, I'll re-look into it, because that was always my understanding, that it was Plagueis, not...
No, Plagueis just did a great deal of research into midichlorians and how to influence them.
Either way, regardless of it being the retcon, Rey and Kylo are cousins, and they kiss.
That's what Skywalkers do. They make out with each other, and I love it.
That's what Skywalkers do. And I think my last note
To me, it's not Star Wars if there's not a slight touch of incest.
I could do without. I could do without personally, but
I could do with more.
My last note for this scene is good catch, Finn, when he caught Rey, and that's really all I have to say about it. You got anything else?
No.
Cool. I've just got 2 more notes.
I only have 2 more notes.
We see Hux come up and talk about the spy, and then got shot.
Yeah, how do you feel about Hux just being thrown away here?
I wrote a quick death for a coward. So I'm okay with it. I don't know. They're bringing in this new general to fill that like general role, but it just feels weird. Hux was been filling that role this whole time, and now we get this new guy. I don't know. I'm okay with it because it, like, him becoming a spy and dying the way he did makes sense for his character, but at the same time, it just still feels a little weird for him to be replaced like that.
I mean, I think it goes back to the point I made earlier of, like, it's very much the Tarkin Krennic vibe that we see in Rogue One.
Yeah, no, I
and
agree.
this Allegiant General has taken the Tarkin position.
And basically taking control of the First Order.
In a sense,
And,
yeah.
Yeah. And then my last line is reference to Palpatine and Kylo's conversation they have. Do you have anything before that?
No, that's my exact note too, buddy.
Okay, Palpatine says she will never be a Jedi, and I just wrote, she already is a Jedi. Like, Palpatine, it's too late. You failed.
Mine is about how Palpatine is questioning Kylo Ren about why she's not dead already.
Yeah.
And he's like, are you already planning to betray me? Like, it's been 1 day, bro.
Right. Which, I mean, we already knew.
Like, not even 1 day. It hadn't even been a full day, and he's already like, yeah, probably gonna betray you.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I mean, we know that was Kylo's plan all along, was to kill Sidious.
Well, can you blame him? Sidious kind of gives him the whole idea, which really goes into Sidious's grand plan here at the end, which I think is a great bookmark for this episode.
To end here, yeah. And I'm gonna say now that last time I was saying that maybe, depending on how I felt, The Last Jedi might not be my least favorite Star Wars film, and I know they're not really gonna stick the landing, but I really enjoyed the first half of this film way more than I enjoyed The Last Jedi or Force Awakens. So I think The Last Jedi is still gonna have to hold that number 9 slot. Sorry, besties.
We'll certainly see.
Maybe by the end I might change my mind, because I know I very distinctly remember them not sticking the landing. But at least the first half of this film, it felt, besides them bringing Palpatine back, it felt the most unique out of this whole trilogy. And
I guess we'll just have to see.
I appreciate that. Okay. Do you have anything else you want to mention?
That's it, man.
Great. If you guys have any questions, you can email us at animalsquadron@gmail.com. Again, that is animalsquadron@gmail.com. We really got to start a Twitter so people can just tweet questions at us.
Yeah.
We'll look into doing that. Anyway, for the Animal Squadron, this has been Mother Goose.
And HouseDog.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. All hail C-3PO,
Bop, boop.
our space Jesus droid.
You know, we didn't plan that. It worked out well.
That's why we're partners.